Are you ready to review a pretty little guitar that's been well beaten, well bedroom tarnished? Let's go and check her out. Let's go and give it a sniff. Battery exhausted, she says. I'm fucking exhausted. So there's one or two things that I've noticed over my lifetime of guitar fluffery. My taste in guitars have changed quite a bit. Ever since I started playing them more, I've kind of fallen in love with the double cut Les Paul. And I've got a couple coming up on the build channel, which is exciting. This is a donation sent over by a viewer, by a subscriber by the name of Harry. He actually sent me 3 guitars. I've got some interesting things to do with them. One of them, more interesting than the rest, but it's going to be more work, so you have to wait for that one. This is a donation to the channel. If you want to donate to the channel, then please email me, milostudios@hotmail.com. What I do is that we'll do them up, we'll service them, we'll get them on eBay, and that goes towards whatever charity we're supporting at the time, which until I've done the London Marathon 2012, Just Giving page is linked below. It's going to be Leukaemia Care. Thanks to everyone that's left donations on that page. I find it hard to keep up with it. It's immense. There's loads of stuff on there. Loads of donations. You're brilliant. So this is an LP double cut, but it's a vintage. I forget the model name. I'll put it down below. This thing's been well used. There's a bit of fretboard wear, which makes it cool. I think it makes it cool. Obviously, we're going to apply some minge fudge so you can all calm the fuck down.
Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
We've got a dog ear Wilkinson P90. The last one, the Harley Benton we did that had a dog ear, the pickup was a bit pants. This one apparently is better, but we can have a little look at that. What am I going to do to this guitar? First thing I'm going to do is turn my heater down, because fucking hell, oh, I'm cooking here. I'm cooking like a bratwurst on a spit. It's horrific. So we're going to have a quick look at the fretwork. What do we do first? The strings were already off this guitar. This is largely how I got it. It's got one of these Wilkinson's wraparound tipmonger bridges. It might be fine. It just doesn't strike me as being the best. I tried using it once on a build, wasn't happy with it, took it off. Let's have a quick whip up the frets. What we're going to do first, it's got quite a skinny neck, but I've offered it more support with a cowling, so we'll get a better reading. It's a Gibson scale length, surprise, surprise. Pop that one on there, have a quick check with my eyes, make sure that the neck is relatively flat. If it needs to have a little bit of a tweak, you can give her a little tweak. No one has to know if you're quiet. I can feel that rubbing all the way up. It's almost sexual, but not quite. You've got to be careful what you say these days. Incidentally, sometimes when you leave me funny comments, I'll reply with what I think is a funny comment, but YouTube has just told me off. YouTube deleted one of my replies because apparently I contravened guidelines. So I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful.
Don't even care.
There's no limit to the amount of times you can check that your neck is flat. You can do it every 2 minutes. I don't care. Keep checking so you know nothing's lying to you. Out comes the cheeky rocker. Stay tuned for Milo Studios, Not Straight Edges, cheeky rockers, and one other very important little jig. Just having some made. Of course I am. Fucking big salesman's dream, innit? Between you and me, I've already been up once. When you use a fret rocker and a very gentle dead blow hammer to give it a little tap, do it more than once. You're going to go up, you're going to adjust things, it's all going to be tickety-boo, and then you want to go up and check again. And when we're using a rocker, we're checking the fret in 3 positions. Yeah? Tiny rocker. So my 3rd fret has got a tiny rock. We've been here before, haven't we? We've done this. I'm going to be giving it the gentlest of taps. I hit my classic Vibe Strat fret a little bit too hard, thinking, oh, I just got, and the thing's bent like mad, and I had to refret it with stainless steel frets, as you've seen. Now, we've adjusted a fret. I'm going to go back one and forward one. Push me, pull you.
It's a push me, pull you.
And I'm going to check that I haven't affected things. The tiniest of rock, what I've learned, because I'm not a tech, the tiniest of rock doesn't really affect things that much. But we can give them a little tap anyway. So everything's tickety-boo there, but on the 4th, I've got that little tap, just a little bit. So out comes the fretilizer with a sneaky bit of sandpaper. I'm going to go against the grain, and then I'm going to finish off going with it. Always finish off going with the grain, especially if you're going in dry. That rock's gone. It didn't take a lot. You could get away with not even crowning that. it's fine. But we are gonna polish these with the next stage of the fertilizer system. Oh, so nice, so nice. So I'm gonna carry on going up through. So far, they've behaved. But I very rarely come across a guitar with glued in frets. It seems to be only boutique builders that do it. So if you can tell me any big brand names that glue them in, fill it in the comments, because I'm always up for an education. Be friendly though, be friendly, no one likes a tit. I think they are 97.62% perfect. I'm happy with that. Fertilizer's done a good job. We didn't need a lot. They needed a bit of knocking in, but they behaved, and that's what we wanted. So I'm gonna whip up through now and do a bit of fret end dressing. Oh, this is exciting, isn't it? No, it's not exciting, because I've already done 2 guitars this morning. But let's do another one, shall we? Now we've done that, we're not worried about checking flatness and things with not straight edges. We've done the flat bit. Now we're just tarting it up and making it look sexy. I can't find my fucking file. Fret end dressing. I'm gonna move little Dave in. I'll show you what I mean with this, because this is a little bit of everyone does it different. Everyone does it different. Some people will start almost flat with a fretboard, and you can just go in. This is the first stage, and I'm just taking off that cheeky corner. Not a lot. That's still gonna feel a little bit rough. Of course it is. Now we're gonna go over the tops. And I'm going to come around, and I'm also going to roll my hand. Around and roll. Around and roll. Just gently. We're still going to hit this with sandpaper. These have got quite a sharp bevel on them, which is a fairly typical way of doing this job. Oh, we're having a serious one this week. If you go too hard with these, Dave's right in the fucking way, isn't he? You'll snap them. These and ask me how I know, because I have snapped. I had a lovely one from Crimson and I snapped it. So you just got to be very gentle. Now the test, I would call it the Phil McKnight tight wank test. I'm not going to do that anymore. Got a feeling he doesn't like it. I think my jokeries got back to him. Sorry Phil, didn't mean to piss you off. As an official YouTube apology. That feels all right. We haven't even sanded it yet, but it feels all right. Got to spin the guitar around, do the other side, and then we'll flick back. And we'll get on with a bit of sanding. Lots of people talk about, and you've probably heard about, rolled edges. Some of you can remain silent, haven't got a fucking clue what anyone's on about. A lot of you will know what they're on about. Well, it's something that you can do yourself very, very easily, and I'll show you how. So here I've got a couple of cheeky strips of 240 grit sandpaper. I used to do this a bit differently. There's several ways you can roll a fretboard edge. Now, actually, that fretboard is compressed a bit and worn away over years. We're trying to replicate a played-in guitar. So some people, and the way I was initially shown, they will use a metal shaft, and you can't really get this wrong. On that rolled edge, start at your first fret. Let's move Dave around. You're in the way, Dave. You start on your first fret, and just very gently, I'm just rubbing that corner, and I'm going around in a radius. And that will just roll over that edge. It will just take the bite off, because when that's sharp, it don't feel very nice. And when you buy a £4,000 custom shop guitar, and that's a cheap one, that's one of the things they've done. They've charged you 500 quid for that. Well, you can do it yourself with a shitty old screwdriver. The nicest way I've found, and thank you to Mr. James Yard who showed me this from Yard Guitars, if you want a headless guitar or a fucked up funky bass, completely custom, check out Yard Guitars. 240 grit sandpaper. I am just going to very gently work it away. Like you're flossing your tackle in that horrific way, we're just flossing. Not too much. That is absolutely dreamy. So I'll just go over now and I'll do the other side. I'm going to lean on that a little bit. 4, 5, 6. Lovely. That is delightful. I'm going to go all the way up the fretboard now. As you start running out of space on your frets, cut a bit off the fucking sandpaper. All right, I'm just applying a bit of logic because some of you might take a few goes to figure that out. If that sandpaper kisses the end of your frets, don't worry about that. That's all adding to the smoothness. I'm not touching the finish of the neck. I'm not getting anywhere near that. I'm staying out there. I'm not in here. I'm 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 out there. Bear in mind, if you've got one of those shiny, glossy maple necks, not the best technique. And if you do that, it's going to mat it all up. As soon as you start brushing your fretboard or getting the side of your neck, you're going to fuck it up with a bit of 240. So be careful with that one. But with a nice ebony board, or whatever this is, with a brown board, let's just call it brown. That's fine. Call it what it is. And that's fine. They're rolled in. Not crazy rolled in. You can go too far with it. Still feels lovely, if I'm honest. But you can go as far as you want with that. to make it feel how you want. We haven't polished or anything, done anything yet. Already not a mark on it from just doing that. That's all you've got to do. That doesn't happen in the factory. No one's got time to do that in a vintage factory, and you can't blame them. They're farming the guitars out. Next thing I want to do is that nut is sharp as fuck. It's awful. So we're going to round that off. Doesn't matter what you do with a nut, as long as you keep away from your slots. So just like a fret, and in fact it's super soft, I'm just going to roll that edge out. And I'm just going to take that Harris off. An Harris is a corner or an edge, an unwanted bit, a ruffian on whatever you're working on. Lovely. We'll let the sandpaper kiss over that. It's a big old chunky nut, that is. You're not going to do anything and not feel it, but that's a lot better. We've taken the sharpness off. Right, now we're going to do a bit of polishing. We're flying through the jobs. Piece of piss. Right, so here's the Fretilizer polishing system. It's got a little tiny bevel on there. You can probably see 15, 2.4, 4,000, 8,000. We're going to just whip up it. Comes with one of them as well. If you're a wobbly-handed, fucking ham-fisted minger, then definitely put that on there. It's no biggie. And the first one is going to really dull your frets up. You can see the difference of that one straight away. So up we go. I'm just going to allow it to go over that bevel. Right, once again, I'm going to go all the way up the fretboard. I'm going to change the fucking cloth back paper, and I'm going to go all the way up 4 times, 4 grits, and we're polished up to 8,000, and then your frets are done. We're ready for a bit of minge fudge application, and that's it. Right, on with the 2.4. I'm going to shut up now. I'm just going to get this done, and we'll whiz back. And we'll get on with the next stage. What's going to be the next stage? It's going to be stringing the bitch up. I mean, there's not a lot to look at. It's got a fucking volume and a tone pot. They're probably tiny. I don't give a shit at this point. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put a bit of contact spray in the pots just to edge our bets. And then we'll get the bridge on. We'll string her up, intonate her, and see how we get on. Bit of lemon oil now. I'm going to go and have a coffee. We'll let this soak in, and then we'll come back, string her up, and do the next stage. Might think there's something funny to say in the meantime. I'm going to go and read some of your comments. That normally gives me something to say, doesn't it? Lovely. Right, I'll see you after coffee break. I'm off downstairs. Ciao for now. I knew a coffee break would make all the difference. I made a cheeky comment about giving silicone to your cat in the last video. That ruffled some feathers. I'm a cat lover, by the way. I didn't mean it. I make these videos and I make these comments under the assumption that you're not all fucking morons and you're not all feeding silicone to cats on my instructions. Right, there's our bridge. She's a wraparound number. We're lovely and oiled up now. This fretboard's nice. I'm not minge fudging it. It just needed lemon oil. It's very dark anyway. Minge fudge is to make things darker, isn't it? So we don't need to do that. Just going to give her a bit of a tuppy wipe before I put the strings on. Just reading some reviews of these guitars, they are very well reviewed. Vintage, they've got quite a good fan base, and I'm not surprised really. This is the V130 vintage white reissue thing. It's a copy of a much more expensive brand. It is super, super light. That's my only serious comment of the video, and it's a good comment because seriously, super light guitars are really where I'm landing. I don't like heavy guitars. They piss me off. I'll get some strings on her, and then we'll see what she looks like and see what she plays like. And I'll carry on cleaning it because there's a bit of munk and merm on it. I've given it a sniff. It don't smell like pancake mix, so I think we're safe. If any string manufacturers want to sponsor the channel, feel free, because it's costing me a fucking fortune in strings. Right, so back to it. The stages are now, I've got these strings on. That bridge is too low, I know it is. But I'm going to tune her up. Now I'm going to check my neck relief. We've got a ton of relief, so we need to adjust the truss rod. We need the assistance of Alan. Of course we do. Alan's always involved. He's always there somewhere. It's like a dodgy uncle at Christmas. He's always around, isn't he? Don't leave Alan alone with him. So I've tightened him up until I can feel the slack go on the truss rod. And now I'm going bit by bit. This one adjusts lovely. Right, so my neck's flat now. And the bridge is way too low. Yeah, we've got tonal issues there. So I'm going to bring the bridge up now. And we're going to measure our action. Right, now when you're adjusting these bridges, obviously you've got to take a bit of the tension off. There's a few cheats you can do. This is a chisel that I've basically bastardized and turned into a giant screwdriver. and it fits these bridge slots nicely, a bit snugger, so you're not going to kill them. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tune up the outer two strings, because that's all I really need to do at the minute. So if you've got a screwdriver or a chisel that fits that perfectly, you can now adjust that bridge with those two strings under tension. Everything else is super loose. So we have still got tension on there. It's a bit of a cheat, but you should be able to turn that screw relatively easily. So I'm just going to check my action on the 12, 0.74. So we're going to wind this one out. It's quite a coarse thread on this. See, that comes up really easily. If you go to turn it and there's resistance, then it might not work for you, but normally 9 times out of 10 is fine. Bear in mind, the strings are under tension, so everything's changing, the relief on the neck, the whole lot. So we're not going to get it perfectly spot on first time. We've got to go back and forth, back and forth. So now we've got that, let's tune her up. Right, now we're under tension, we can check that our neck has got the right amount of relief. People do ask about neck relief. Yes, when guitars leave the shop, I do put a tiny bit of relief in. When I'm working on frets, obviously your neck has to be dead flat. And then when you introduce the relief, you're introducing the relief to your frets and the fretboard. Simple bit of logic, seemed to get missed by a few people. So I hope that was a bit clearer. Check my action. 1.5 on the high E, 1.5 on the low E. So if anything, we might come down a little bit on the high E. Give her a little check for frets. Well, that seems banging, to be honest. That seems really good. I'm very happy with that. Very happy with it. Plays lovely. Frets are now level. Didn't really take that much work. Couple hours, and to be honest, I drank more coffee than fucking anything else. I'm banging into the double cut. Do you want a sneak preview of the double cut I'm making for myself? I'll show you. So obviously I do a lot of fabric top stuff, and this is going to make the most beautiful Les Paul double cut. So very similar to that. 2 black P90s, black binding, all on mahogany neck. It's going to be lovely, isn't it? Oh. Okay, so I think we've done everything we've got to do. Interestingly, I'm just going to make a note of how high that P90 is from the bottom of the strings. So I'm going to fret the guitar at the highest fret, and I'm just going to have a little check with my radiantools.com wonderfully nice ruler. I've got 4mm to the underside of my string. It's a little bit more than normal. I don't know if that's a hot P90 or what, but let's go and have a little cheeky look. I did say we're going to have a little look at the pots, so we'll do that first. Got to look at the pots. Look at the pots! Open the box! What do you reckon? Biggies or smallies? My money's on biggies. Fuck it. My money's on biggies this week. I haven't looked. I wouldn't do it to you. Oh, they're biggies. Of course they are. Vintage, you did not disappoint. We've got biggie pots. I don't know what they are. Not a lot of room to get. They're not the biggest, but not the smallest. Some say they're in between. There's not a lot of space to get a bit of contact cleaner in there, but it's something I started bashing in, just a little squeeze. You can normally find a gap in the side of your pot, and that'll just widdly, widdly, widdly. That'll stop you crackling. It's a little carbon bush in the middle of your pot. You can Google that. Google how do potentiometers work. That'll be the most interesting part of your day. We'll make a change from Pornhub, won't it? We might get some Pornhub inspired Milo Studios t-shirts. Let me know, because hopefully it'll offend some people. Right, she's all intonated, she's all tuned up, lovely jubbly. It's 3:15. I'm gonna get down and give her a strum. And the guitar. See you downstairs, slags. So, I've got to film a cheeky outro. And this guitar, let's just discuss one thing. Don't forget everyone, they're not serious reviews. I'm just being a prick on the internet. There's loads of us. We're out there. We fill the interwebs. And yeah, prize prick. I don't even swear this much in real... Yeah, I do. I do swear this much in real life. But I try not to. I know there's a time and a place. Vintage guitars is one that I've overlooked a lot of times over the years because of my own snobbery. So this guitar is a bit of a surprise. It's the first time I've got down and dirty with one. Really, really liked it. It was ahead of the game anyway because I think it's gorgeous. I do love double cuts. Love this vintage white. It's very matte. The net, it's got just enough knocks and mojo on it to make it a little bit horny. So for me, it was a winner. It's a lovely guitar. It's got a matte headstock as well, which is what I want to do on my Gibby. On the river thing I'm making. Never liked this Wilkinson wraparound bridge before, but actually it performed pretty well. There's no problems with it at all. We managed to get the action very low on this. The frets were pretty good. They knocked in, they behaved. The Wilkinson P90, really, really good. It's the first time that I've picked up a single pickup guitar and kind of got what people like, the simplicity and the twiddling of the tone knob. There's plenty of twiddling going on downstairs in Fritzl's, but that's how he got himself in trouble, innit? Yeah, lovely guitar. These go for about 310 quid new. I'm putting this one on eBay for about 200 including postage. She's got some dings and dents. It's gonna go straight towards Leukaemia Care. It's yeah, wonderful little guitar, wonderful. Well, the tuners are also Wilkinson. So all the hardware is Wilkinson. P90 bridge and tuners. The pots are circular. They do things when you twizzle them. There's no switch to worry about. The neck is quite chunky. I'm trying to give you some actual details, but really, who gives a fuck? Thanks for coming this week. A little bit more serious than normal. If you think you're having a bad day and you want to leave me a shitty comment, you fill your boots, but I bet it's not as bad as this, guys.
His testicle sack is now so large, he has to wear a huge hoodie upside down instead of trousers.
I can't resist sneaking them in. What an absolute... I'd like to thank today's sponsor, fucking me, because no one gives a shit.